Hi everybody, Pastor Todd here. Today is December 22nd, or the 25th day of Advent. I'm going to read to you from the Tao of Jesus. It's not officially or technically an Advent devotional, but it does have readings for December 22nd, a book of days for the natural year. And the reading for today is actually very intriguing. It's a non-canonical birth narrative. So that just means it is a book written around the time of the Gospels, but it's not officially in the canon. It's called the Infancy Gospel of James, chapter 18, 1 and following. But listen to this, the take on the birth of Christ and the slight differences, the nuances. Joseph found a cave nearby and took her inside. He stationed his sons to guard her and went to look for a Hebrew midwife in the country around Bethlehem. Now I, Joseph, was walking along, and yet not going anywhere. I looked up at the vault of the sky, and saw it standing still, and then at the wind, and saw it arrested in amazement. And the birds of the sky stopped in midair. As I looked on the earth, I saw a bowl lying there, and workers reclining around it with their hands in the bowl. Some were chewing, and yet did not chew. Some were picking up something to eat, and yet did not pick it up. And some were putting food in their mouths, and yet did not do so. Instead, they were all looking upward. I saw sheep being driven along, and yet the sheep stood still. The shepherd was lifting his hand to strike them, and yet his hand did not fall. And I observed the current of the river, and saw goats with their mouths in the water, and yet they were not drinking. And suddenly, everything and everybody went on with what they were doing. And I saw a young woman coming down from the hill country. She asked, "Where are you going, sir?" And I replied, "I am looking for a Hebrew midwife." And she inquired, "Are you an Israelite?" And I told her, "Yes." And she said, "And who's the one having a baby in the cave?" And I said, "My fiancé." And she continued, "She isn't your wife?" And I said to her, "Her name is Mary, and she was raised in the temple of the Lord. I obtained her by lot as my wife, but she is not really my wife. She is pregnant with the Holy Spirit." And the midwife said, "Really?" And Joseph said, "Come and see." And she went with him, and she stood in front of the cave. A bright cloud overshadowed it. The midwife said, "Today I've really been privileged, because my eyes have seen a miracle, and that salvation has come to Israel." Suddenly the cloud withdrew from the cave, and a great light appeared inside the cave, so that her eyes could not bear to look. And a little later the light receded, until an infant became visible. He went and took the breast of his mother Mary. Then the midwife shouted, "What a great day this is for me, because I have seen this new miracle." So a little different take on the birth story. In this version, Joseph has sons, and it's a cave, not a manger. But I think the role of the light remains in the official story, or the canonized story. It's the light of a star. In this story, the light seems to proceed from Jesus himself, or the event of the birth. And the light, a powerful symbol of the gospel, of us needing guidance. So I want you to reflect on the beauty of light in your life. Maybe let's think back to a time early in your life when you saw Christmas lights. One of the first times you can remember seeing Christmas lights, and how did they affect you? And think about the time, an early time you saw Christmas lights, and try to recapture the feeling. I remember out in West Texas looking up in the night sky during Christmas and looking for Santa Claus up there on Christmas Eve, and really believing, because of the clearness out in the desert of the sky and the stars, I really thought I was going to see Santa Claus in his sleigh, gliding throughout the stars. See if you can recapture a little bit of that wonder, and just remember that that's truly being wondrous in the face of of what God is, the nature of all things, is inappropriate. Is appropriate. We think we know it all when we grow up and we learn about the real world and what it's demanded of us. We can lose our sense of wonder, but truly, God is wondrous, and we try to recapture that during Christmas. So, just spend a little time walking down memory lane, Christmas lights, and let that memory just make you feel a little more joyous and childlike this day. We're getting close. 2 more days till Christmas Eve. I hope you're following these every day, and I'll see you tomorrow.